Alright guys, what's going on? Got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to do this really quick. I got to get you all ready for this test coming up on Thursday and Friday. So we're going to jump in here right away. We are talking about solving multi-step equations with distribution. Part 2, okay? As I've been coming around, I've been seeing a lot of mistakes that you guys are making. So I want to point some of these mistakes out, so hopefully you're not making these on the test. If you can do these problems, you can do any kind of equation in the whole wide world that I'm ever going to ask you to do. So make sure you're on top of the game with this one. So the first thing we're going to talk about is common mistakes. I've been looking at these mistakes all day, and I want to make sure that most of you all are not making these mistakes anymore. So, first mistake I've been seeing has to do with combining like terms, or what you think are like terms, across an equal sign. Okay? You cannot combine terms across the equal sign. Okay? Like terms have to be both on the same side of the equal sign. So we're going to say that like terms must be on the same side of the equal sign. That's really important. I saw at least 7 people tell me today about how they were combining like terms across the equal side. Can't do it. Doesn't work. So, let's talk about and let's look at what you all, or a number of you all, have been doing. So this is called an incorrect example. I want you to see it so you know exactly what it is. So you get a problem that looks like this. It says 6x minus 27 equals 12x plus 16. And I'm telling you, hey, go through the 5 steps. You say, hey, Mr. Bass, I don't have to distribute. All right, Mr. Bass, combining like terms. Oh, 12 and 6 is 18. And then you put 18 together. So you go, oh, 12 and 6 is 18. 18x minus 27 equals 16. Wrong. Cross it out. Do not do that. Notice, there are no terms. This and this are not like terms. They cannot be combined. Okay? Can't happen. Can't do it. Not going to work. So make sure you don't do that. That does not work. I can't just put these together across the equal sign. I don't know how many more ways to say it. Don't do it. Don't make that mistake. Don't do it. Okay? So there's your incorrect example. It's one of the mistakes that you've been making. Okay? Second incorrect example. So incorrect example number 2 has to deal with distributing with a single negative sign. Okay? Or a single subtraction sign. And remember, negative and subtraction are basically the same thing. So for example, you guys get a problem like this, and it says 6 minus 3 times x minus 16 equals 4x plus 2. And you all are doing this. You're doing, oh, well, 6, you're writing this minus, and you're saying, oh, 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 6, but times negative 16 is negative 48, right? You're doing that, okay? That's wrong. Wrong, wrong. Don't do that, okay? This is wrong. Do not do that. If you want to actually do your work correctly, you need to recognize if I have 6 minus 3x minus, excuse me. If I have 6 minus 3 times x minus 16 equals 4x plus 2, I need to look at this as a negative 3. Make sure you see these things as connected. So this is negative 3 times x and negative 3 times negative 16. Those are connected. Treat them the same. So I end up with 6 times negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 16 is positive 48. Okay? 4x plus 2. So please be careful with that. These minus signs that you're seeing, they are just like negatives. Minuses and negatives are one and the same. So look out for them. Okay? The other thing I'm seeing you all messing up with the negative signs is when you get an example like this, and it says 6 minus 3 plus negative 7 minus 8. When you're distributing something like this, as soon as you just see a random minus sign in front of a parentheses, always just write in a 1. This is really a negative 1. Get in the habit of just writing that down and distribute negative 1. So this becomes 6 times negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. Okay? This is what it should turn into. So anytime you just see a random negative next to a parentheses, make it negative 1 or minus 1 and distribute that negative. Okay? So those are big mistakes that I was seeing kind of across the board. Now, let's talk about actually solving these problems. All right? So we have, I think we'll do 3 examples. All right? But first, I keep saying, go back. People are struggling on, I think this is skill 23, and people are struggling on it. Go back, look at it, and look at your 5 steps that I gave you. I gave you those 5 steps. If you follow those steps, you'll be able to solve these. Like all this hand motion right there. That's right. I know. It's nice. So, 5 steps. The short version. 5 steps. Yes, you're going to write it again. You're going to write this over and over until you remember it by heart. 5 steps. 2. Solve equations. Okay? 1. You should already be writing this down. You should see it in your notebook. You should know. You should be like, Mr. Bass, I'm so tired of hearing this. 1. Distribute. 2. Combine. Like terms. On the same side. I'm not writing that, but you should know it. 3. Move variables to one side. Constants to the other by adding and subtracting. 4 is isolate your variable by multiplying and dividing. 5 is simplify. 5 steps. You should have written this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Make it happen. So, I'm going to keep referring back to these steps. This stuff is going to be on your test. I'm going to tell you to review and look over this video so you're ready for your test. Remember last time you didn't look at the video, then you weren't ready for your test, and then you felt hella dumb. So, don't do that. Review this. Listen to it. Alright, here's the first example. We're almost there. So example 1, we're going to solve this. It says 2 minus 7x plus 1 equals negative 3x minus 2. You should solve this before me. Pause it right now and solve it. Hopefully you actually did that. Look back. Step 1, distribute. Okay. 2 times -7 is -14x. 2 times 1 is 2. There's no more distributing for me to do, so I'm going to move on. Secondly, I'm going to combine like terms. Are these like terms right here? Hopefully you're looking at me and saying, heck no, Mr. Bass, those are not like terms. There are no like terms for me to combine. Third, move all my variables to one side and all my constants to the other. I don't want variables on both sides, so I need to get rid of this. I want this number to be 0. The only way I can turn -3x into 0 is to add 3x. -3x plus 3x is 0. That's what I want. So if I added 3x, I add 3x. I owe you 14 x's and I only have 3 x's. I cannot pay you back, so I still owe you x's, and I happen to still owe you 11 x's. So I get -11x plus 2 equals -2. I do not want this 2. I want all my constants over there. So how do I turn a 2 into a 0? 2 minus 2 equals 0. Hence they cancel out. Minus 2. -11x equals. I owe you $2 and I owe you $2 more. That means I owe you $4. I'm left with this. Step 4 is I isolate my variable. I get my variable alone, and I even gave us a hint by multiplying or dividing. This time, I don't want to know what -11x's are. I want to know what 1x is. So how do I turn this -11 into a 1, which is what I want? I divide it by itself. -11 divided by -11 is 1x. And now I divide by -11, and I get 4/11. Remember, negative over a negative is actually just a positive. X equals 4/11. Let me check and see what my time is. Alright, time's running long. I'm putting a part 2 of this video up, so you got to do both of them tonight. Mr. Bass, I'll be back in a second.